Is Rahu Maha Dasha as bad as people think it is? Let's find out. Rahu Maha Dasha is something people panic over. Oftentimes, people get really scared when they hear about Rahu and Ketu. Some people think that failure is in store for them when they come across Rahu or Ketu, especially in their horoscope. But the reality of the matter is, Rahu or Ketu, like any other grahas, don't do good or bad simply because they exist. It is the placement of Rahu or Ketu in a chart that determines whether it's favorable or unfavorable in terms of the results that it produces for a particular native in a particular chart. The Rishi had a very long list of shlokas in this regard, so I'm directly going to dive right in and explain about Rahu and Ketu and their placement and how the Mahadasha is going to be in that case. Rahu is exalted, be in association with benefics in the 1st, 4th, 7th, 10th, 11th, 3rd. The Mahadasha of the Rahu will be good. It is said that in the Rahu Maha Dasha, which people actually get very scared of, if Rahu is actually well placed, which is this mentioned combination here, the person will actually acquire wealth. They'll do well in agriculture, they might acquire vehicles, they might construct a new house, they have birth of children, they'll have religious inclinations, or they might become spiritual, and they might even be recognized by the foreign government or agencies, and they'll do very well. This is what Parashara Rishi says. So there is no need to worry if somebody has a running Rahu Mahadasha. It is the placement of Rahu that matters the most. Like any planet, Rahu or Ketu, although they are natural malefics, their placement being good in a chart will usually mean only good results. Now, a lot of people have a question: what is Rahu's exaltation? What is Rahu's debilitation? Ketu's exaltation, debilitation, own house? Because there is a lot of debate between astrologers themselves as to whether Rahu has an exaltation sign or not, or an own sign or not, etc. But to end the debate, or to have some standard format regarding this, if we simply go by what Parashara says, which is the standard guideline for Vedic astrology, Parashara says, Rahostu Vrishabham Keto Vrishchikam Tunga Samjnanam. Rahu gets exalted in Taurus and Ketu gets exalted in Scorpio. He also says, Moola Trikonakam Gneyam Yugmam Chapam Kramena Cha. The Moola Trikona of Rahu is Gemini, and for Ketu it is Sagittarius. Kumbhali Chagruhau Proktau Kanya Meenau Cha Kenachit. The own sign of Rahu, according to Parashara, is Aquarius, Kumbha Rashi, and the own sign of Ketu again is Scorpio. Not only is Ketu's exaltation sign Scorpio, but it's also his own sign, is what Parashara Rishi says. But he also adds that some learned scholars have said that Virgo is the own sign of Rahu and Pisces is the own sign of Ketu. This is what the Rishi is saying. This is not the interpretation of any new astrologer. This is what the Rishi himself is saying. If Rahu or Ketu happen to be in any of these houses mentioned earlier, in the same order mentioned, then the Mahadasha of Rahu would generally be good. Now let's take a look at the unfavorable placement of Rahu that the Rishi mentions. If Rahu is in the 8th or 12th, Andreva Vyayage Raho Taddaye Kastamadishet, then there might be troubles in Rahu Mahadasha. In this case, if we look at this chart, ascendant being Aquarius, Rahu's 8th house becomes Virgo. Virgo seems to be Rahu's own house. Now, this is the own house, but this is also 8th house. So, in the previous section, we saw that if Rahu is in the own house, there will be good. But if Rahu is in the 8th house, there will be troubles. Now that if we tally both the issues, Rahu is in the own house, which is a good thing, but Rahu is in the 8th house, which is unfavorable. Put together, there might be some amount of neutrality, but you might face both good and bad. That there will be mixed results in Rahu Maha Dasha. Suppose Rahu was in the 12th for this particular ascendant, then maybe the troubles will be more, because it is neither the own house of Rahu, sign of exaltation, or anything like that. So, this is how we interpret these things. The Rishi further goes on to say, Papa Grahena Sambandhe Maraka Graha Samyute Nicha Rashi Gate Vapi Sthana Brahmsho Manovyatha. If Rahu is debilitated, which is the Nicha Rashi, or he is associated with a malefic, or if he is associated with a Maraka, then the results are not going to be that favorable. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, share and subscribe and hit the bell icon for further notifications.